Money. Does it matter to you? The answer probably depends on each person's circumstances. For those who are well off, money may matter, but isn't a daily concern. For others, it's something they must trade for survival, a factor that determines their very existence. However, whether your answer is yes or no, deep beneath that response lies a truth. The relationship between emotions and money is more complex than any simple answer, because it's not fixed. It's not just numbers in your wallet or bank account. It's also emotion, the anxiety when seeing bills, the joy when receiving a paycheck, or the regret when splurging on something for yourself. It can also be power, the ability to say yes or no to opportunities, the capacity for independence or dependence on others. It's dreams, what you hope to achieve, the experiences you want to have, the life you want to build. And sometimes it's also psychological wounds that have never healed, words from childhood about, "we can't afford it," or times you had to decline friends because you had no money, or the shame when comparing yourself to others. So, really, does money matter to you? Perhaps the better question is, do you truly understand the real relationship between yourself and money? Think about this. Poor people work tirelessly to have money, but the more they work, the less time they have to enjoy life. Rich people have enough money to buy freedom, but live in fear of losing what they have. And those in between, they're trapped in an endless race. When is it ever enough? When lacking money, you begin to lose yourself. You do things you would normally never do. You sacrifice values, time, health, just to survive. Money becomes the master, and you become the slave. When you have some money, instead of feeling satisfied, you want more. You compare with others. You fear falling behind. Money is no longer a means, but becomes the goal. You forget why you needed money in the first place. When wealthy, you live in fear of losing what you have. You trust no one. You doubt every relationship. You can buy everything, but cannot buy trust, genuine love, or peaceful sleep. I want to tell you about someone I once knew. When he was 25, he worked 12 hours a day, telling everyone, "I don't need much, just enough to live." By 35, he had a house and car, but said, "I'm not greedy. I just want to secure my children's future." And at 45, he was successful, but said, "Money isn't important. I just want happiness." Yet he still couldn't stop worrying about money, couldn't stop wanting more, couldn't stop fearing the loss of what he had. Does this story sound familiar? Because it could be anyone's story among us. But here's the harshest truth I want to share with you. A truth that, whether you're poor, rich, or in between, you must face. Money has turned us into liars, to ourselves. Poor people say, "I don't need much money, just enough to live." But deep down, they crave wealth. Middle-class people say, "I'm not greedy, I just want to secure the future." But they never stop wanting more. Rich people say, "Money isn't important, I just want happiness." But they'll do anything not to lose it. If you see yourself in these words, remember, recognition is the first step to healing. We're not bad people because of this. Psychological research on self-deception shows that we've learned to hide our true relationship with money, even from ourselves. We're ashamed of our financial desires. We justify our money-driven actions. We create beautiful stories to cover up the truth. Have you ever caught yourself saying, "I don't care about money," while your heart beats faster when receiving a bank notification, or saying, I work for passion, but feeling frustrated when your salary doesn't increase, or saying, I don't envy anyone, but feeling uncomfortable seeing someone live more lavishly than you. These are completely normal human reactions. We don't need to be ashamed of this.
The truth is, we all care about money more than we dare admit. We all have financial desires we feel ashamed of. And we're all living in an internal conflict between what we want and what we think we should want. This doesn't make us terrible people. This makes us human. But to change our relationship with money, we must first stop lying to ourselves. And that's exactly what we'll learn to do right now.
So, how can we escape these contradictions? How do we stop lying to ourselves about money? I'll share with you 4 mindset shifts, not simple advice or ways to make lots of money for a better life, but psychological tools to help you rebuild your relationship with money from the ground up.
Mindset Shift 1. Investment Mindset.
First, pay attention to moments when money influences your life choices. Not what you buy or don't buy, but opportunities for personal growth that you choose to postpone or avoid because of money. But here's the interesting part. Every time you notice money blocking something, ask yourself, instead of spending money on things that bring temporary satisfaction, how can I redirect a portion of that money to invest in myself? Because investing in yourself is the only investment that never loses value. This doesn't depend on whether you have much or little money. This is about changing your relationship with money. Instead of thinking, I can't afford this growth opportunity, think, what am I currently spending money on that I could redirect towards self-development? The amount doesn't matter, whether it's the cost of a few coffees redirected to buy books, or the price of a peaceful retreat redirected to have a life-changing experience. What matters here is the shift in intention from consumption to cultivation. Ask yourself, recently, what percentage of my money went to temporary entertainment versus things that develop me long-term? If that ratio doesn't feel right, that's your opportunity to readjust. When you start viewing every expense through the lens of, does this help me grow, you'll naturally shift money from consumption to investment. And that's how money becomes a tool for personal development, rather than just a means of instant gratification. Mindset Shift 2. Identity Separation. This is one of the deepest contradictions. We often confuse what we have with who we are. But think about this. If you lost all your money today, would you still be yourself? The answer is yes. You still have the skills you've learned, the relationships you've built, the experiences you've accumulated, the values you've formed. These cannot be taken away by financial crisis or economic recession. I want you to summarize the things about yourself you're most proud of, but that aren't related to money or possessions. It could be, I'm a loyal friend. I have the ability to learn quickly. I know how to make others laugh. I can cook a delicious meal. I always help when someone needs it. These are what define you, not the money in your account. Every time you feel your self-worth shaken by financial issues, reread this list. Remind yourself that you have value not because of what you have, but because of who you are. And remember, you can lose all your money, but still keep yourself. You can have lots of money, but lose yourself. Invest in being, things no one can take away.
Mindset shift 3, tool mindset. The biggest contradiction in the relationship with money is when it transforms from means to end. When that happens, you'll never have enough, because enough has no clear definition. Imagine money like a hammer. A hammer has value not for itself, but for what it can help you build. If you collect hammers just to have more hammers, you've lost its original purpose. So what do you want to build with money? Be specific. Not, I want to be rich, but I want enough money not to worry about monthly bills. I want to be able to travel with family once a year. I want to be able to help my parents in their old age. When you have these specific goals, you can calculate how much money you need, and more importantly, you can know when you've had enough for that goal. This helps you escape the never enough spiral. Always ask yourself, what do I want money for? If the answer is to have more money, you've fallen into the trap. If the answer is a specific, meaningful goal, you're on the right track. And don't forget, once you've achieved that goal, stop and enjoy it. Don't immediately set a bigger goal. Allow yourself to feel satisfaction before continuing the journey.
Mindset shift 4. Uncertainty acceptance.
This may be the hardest shift, but also the most important. No matter how much money you have, uncertainty about the future still exists. And that's not a sign you need more money. It's a sign you need to learn to live with uncertainty. Think about the world's wealthiest people. Do they stop worrying about money? No. They worry about market crashes, inflation, risks they can't even imagine. Because absolute security doesn't exist. The human brain is designed to always seek safety, always prepare for possible risks. That's how we survived millions of years of evolution. But in the modern world, this mechanism can become the source of endless anxiety. So, how do we live with this uncertainty? First, recognize that feeling anxious about the future is normal. Don't try to eliminate it completely. That's impossible. Instead, learn to live with it. Ask yourself, what can I control? You can control income, spending, saving, investing, but you cannot control economic crises, natural disasters, or unexpected life changes. Instead of accumulating money to feel absolutely safe, which is impossible, accumulate adaptability, learn new skills, build relationships, take care of health, develop flexibility. These will help you overcome difficulties better than any amount of money. Peace doesn't come from having enough money to deal with every possible situation. Peace comes from trusting your ability to handle whatever life brings. These mindset shifts don't work in isolation. They support each other to create a healthy relationship with money. When you know how to transform money from barrier to bridge, you can separate self-worth from money. When you use money as a tool, you can accept uncertainty. And when all these combine, you'll have a completely new relationship with money.
Your relationship with money will continue to change throughout life. That's not just normal, it's natural. Because you change, circumstances change, and what you need from money changes too. But what doesn't change is this truth. You're never a slave to money, unless you allow it to happen. You can choose how to perceive it, how to use it, and most importantly, how not to let it define you. Maybe today you're facing financial difficulties. Maybe you're living comfortably. Maybe you're somewhere between these extremes. But wherever you are, you can have a healthy relationship with money, A relationship based on understanding, not fear, based on purpose, not impulse, based on autonomy, not dependence. Remember that the contradictions we discussed today, money being both liberating and imprisoning, both necessary and dangerous, these aren't problems to be solved. They're realities to accept and learn to live harmoniously with. You don't need to conquer money. You don't need to become a millionaire to have peace. You also don't need to abandon all financial aspirations to be a good person. You just need to learn to use money as a tool to build the life you truly want to live. And most importantly, remember that your true value never lies in your wallet. It lies in how you love, how you contribute, how you grow, and how you create meaning in life. These cannot be bought with money, but they can help you use money more wisely.
And sometimes the best way to remember this is to allow yourself liberation from money worries. Whoever you are, whether you depend on money or not, if you have the chance, create moments where money no longer matters. It could be gatherings with close friends, where laughter matters more than bills. It could be traveling to places you've never been, where experience matters more than cost. It could just be intimate family meals, where the time spent earning money has made you forget. In those moments, you'll remember that money only has meaning when it helps create these experiences. And these experiences, love, connection, discovery, peace, are the reasons we need money in the first place. You deserve peace with money. Whether you have much or little, you deserve freedom from fears and limiting beliefs about money. And you deserve to live a life where money serves your dreams, rather than your dreams being sacrificed for money. And I really want to hear your story. Please share in the comments a moment when money influenced an important decision in your life. It could be when you declined an opportunity due to financial concerns, or when you decided to take a risk and invest in yourself. These stories not only help you reflect, but also help our community learn from each other. If you found this video valuable, please share it with someone you think also needs to hear these things. Sometimes just a new perspective on money is enough to change an entire life.